Grace needed out of the flat that still smelled like him, out of the friends who chose sides, out of the way every room held a memory she didn't need. She wanted quiet and keys that were only hers. The listing looked like a mistake. 5 bedrooms, 2 staircases, land. Photos in murky light, but the bones were good. The price was a joke. Why so cheap? She asked the estate agent on the phone. It's remote. The owner went missing, he said. Quick sale. She drove down the next day. The house sat low in a shallow valley, as if it had crouched to drink and never stood again. Garlic fields pressed close on every side, neat ranks of green spears marching to the fence. They stood in the gravel. The agent didn't step over the threshold. Go on, Grace said, smiling. You first. I'll wait here. Inside, the air was cold and clean in a way that didn't feel healthy. Every window had a crucifix mailed above it. And that's not unusual, Grace asked. Listed features, he said too quickly. He smiled but didn't mean it. Original character. In the hall, mirrors were turned towards the wall, nailed to the wall with a carpenter's conviction. The place smelled of dust and stone. She made one circuit parlor, dining room, kitchen, while the agent shuffled at the door like a schoolboy told to wait outside the head's office. I'll take it, Grace said. He exhaled. Fine, he said. Fine. For a week she lectured the house into being reasonable. She opened all the shutters, beat rugs in the yard, made lists. She discovered a narrow door behind the pantry shelves that wouldn't open and told herself it held coal. On the 6th night, she dreamed she wasn't alone. She didn't see him properly, only a tall shape at the foot of the bed, still as furniture. She woke with the sense of someone having stood watching her. 2 small marks sat high on her shoulder, tidy as piercings. Spider, she said aloud, and laughed too brightly to the empty room. The changes were small enough to ignore, which is how she ignored them. Sunlight made her head swim. She started pulling the curtains a little earlier each evening. The garlic made her gag when she stepped outside, so she stopped stepping outside. She slept through her alarm, then through noon, then decided alarms were an urban reflex she didn't need. She tried to lift one of the mirrors because she wanted to see herself in her new life. The nails were in deep. She pried them loose one by one with the back of a butter knife. Her reflection looked fine, if a little paler. Her skin looked younger somehow, country air. The tall man came again, or the dream did. This time he stood closer, not young, not old. A face that suggested angles without revealing them. He didn't speak. She expected fear and found none, only a relieved, terrible calm, as if someone had arrived to take over a job she never wanted. She woke with a curtain moving in a wind that wasn't there. Her pulse was slow and deliberate in her wrists. On a Tuesday, she found the key to the pantry door in a drawer labeled Keep Closed. She tried it without deciding to. The lock turned with a dull, deep click. Steps slid down into cool. The cellar was small and square and older than the rooms above. On one side, a low platform had been built from rough slabs. There was dust and a faint iron smell, as if someone had mopped up blood a long time ago and done a careful job. In the far corner, 2 long boxes lay side by side. Grace stood there until the cold made her teeth tingle. That night, she didn't dream him. She woke to find him sitting in the chair by the window, as real and ordinary as a relative. His voice was quiet and well-mannered. I'm glad you came. When morning came, she kept the curtains shut. There was no law that said daylight had to be admitted. She walked soft-footed through her house and learned each bored sentence. The marks at her shoulder never healed and never hurt. She ate dry biscuits and left them half-finished on the plate. She drank water but wanted something she couldn't explain. The mirror she had turned waited politely against the wall. Some days she glanced and saw a pale woman moving the way she now moved, quiet, economical, the gestures of someone who had been taught not to disturb sleeping things. Eventually, glass showed only the room behind her. He came when the light was gone. He stood in doorways. He stood at the end of the hall. He didn't knock. The third time he came to her room, she said, very softly, "Are you real?" And he tilted his head as if considering the terms. "Real enough," he said. He touched her wrist, and her heartbeat slowed to match something that was not quite a heartbeat. Cold moved through her in a clean wave and left a space behind that felt like relief. After she slept without dreams. After she woke when she meant to wake, when the sky was dark and the house was a held breath, the crucifixes kept their arms spread. Their watch never ended. Weeks later, the house was ready for photographs again. She sat at the small desk by the parlor window and opened the laptop. Candlelight gave her perfect pale skin a soft glow. Her fingers on the keys were pale and steady. Charming countryside manner, secluded, historic features, substantial potential. Priced for quick sale. She attached the same dim pictures she had once frowned at. She set the price lower. She clicked post. A week later, a woman in a red coat came up the drive behind an estate agent who wouldn't step past the gravel. She stood where Grace had stood and shivered at the cold that wasn't weather. "Why so cheap?" she asked. "It's remote." The owner went missing, the agent said. "Quick sale." Inside, the house smelled faintly of garlic and stone. The crucifixes outside watched the windows without blinking. The mirrors in the hall turned their backs, the nails holding fast. Down in the cellar, 3 coffins lay side by side on the low platform. Grace stood at the top of the stairs, just out of sight, and listened to the agent's careful voice and the new woman's hopeful one. "Original character," he said. "Perfect," she said.